So I want to do a video here. I've been asked to do this a few times to show how to use larger kitchen knives in the ViperSharp. So that's what I'm going to do, just quick and dirty, show you how to sharpen them and set it up. So let's get to it. So when you clamp the knife in, well, let's look at the blade length first. So we're looking here at a 6.5 inch blade. This one is, it's only what, 4 1/4 inches, so it's that's fine just with the whole blade. But and that one, honestly, 6.5. So I guess I don't have a kitchen knife that's really extremely long. There we've got a slightly longer blade with the so there we're looking at what, about 7 inches of blade there. So anyway, when we put the clamp on, if you've got a longer blade and you want to make sure that that angle stays the same all the way along the blade, then notice the difference in where that sits compared to over here in the center there. From here to here, you're going to be looking at about the same angle, but the farther out you get like that, you'll see a different angle. And so you'll want to do this in shifts. If you've got a nice long knife and you want to make sure that the angle is the same, consistent from here to here, then you're going to have to lock it down a couple of different times. So let's look at the angle finder and get our angle set, and then I can show you how that changes. So we'll zero out the angle finder. I like to do that on the base at the same with the same surface that I'm using. So put that to 0. Then we can put our stone in, whichever we're using. I'm actually going to be using some diamond prototypes here. And then we'll need to adjust this too. So we'll adjust that so we're using more of the stone there. So I want to use as much of that stone as possible without dropping down in front of the edge of the blade. So we've got everything zeroed there. Now we're going to bring it up here and decide what angle we want to go to. So get up there where we can see that angle finder. Maybe. Alright, so there we're sitting at 12, so if I want a 12 degrees, then we're good, or 12.9, 13. So I'm thinking I probably want to go a little higher. Now, with this big of a kitchen knife like this, you can, if you really want to, you could get this down to about 10 degrees. I don't think I want to do that with that knife, and of course that's going to vary. That's the only reason I'm able to do that is because I've got 1.25 inches of space between the edge of the blade and the edge of my clamp there. If the closer I am to the clamp, the higher my angle has to be before hitting the edge of the clamp. So I think what I'll do with this is I'm going to put these at about I don't think I have the greatest steel here, but we'll put it at around 16 degrees on this. Alright, so that's where I'm going to sharpen with this. Well, that angle is going to remain fairly consistent here, but notice as we get further out over here, I don't know if you can see that, but my angle is no longer 16 degrees. Out here at the tip, I'm looking at about 11.5 to 12 degrees on there. So it's quite a difference because of the length of the blade. So if you do have a real long blade, then you want to clamp it on the first half of the blade. Do that sharpen that part of the blade. Okay, so we're going from here to about halfway, and sharpen the first half of the blade. Then after you've completed sharpening that half of the blade, you're going to move this down to here. I've had a lot of people ask if I can sell these clamps separately. Yes, I do plan on doing that, so you can have 2 clamps if you'd like, and just clamp one in each area so that you can easily pull that off and set it on, like so. So if you have that preset with your clamps in a similar position, then you can do the first half of the blade and then just move over to the second clamp and do the second half of the blade. So yes, I'll work on getting those available. It's just a matter of enough funds. We're still a young company, so let's go ahead and get this sharpened. We'll pull back up to the top and show you how to sharpen the chef knife. So I'm actually reprofiling this knife to this new angle. I've had this at the same angle as I do my pocket knives, and so I decided I'm going to make this a little bit more narrow of an angle. So I've got a bit of work to do here to get this to come down where I really want it. And again, I am using some diamond abrasives to make fast work of this. You could definitely do this with most steels using a 220 grit, or if you really wanted to go aggressive with an 80 grit. But of course we know the harder steels are going to be better with a diamond or similar abrasive. So I'm working on that. I'm planning on coming to Kickstarter again this year or next. I'll depend on you guys a lot to get the word out for that and help me promote it. It's a huge undertaking, a lot of work, a lot of networking and promotion and media that has to happen in order to make a Kickstarter successful. And so I'm just not in a position right now where I can keep up with all of the marketing of the site and the manufacturing and everything, and then take on something that big. But I know if I can get enough of you promoting it and talking about it, then that should help to really get things moving. So hopefully you want the diamond at a good price and you're interested in letting everybody else know about it. Yeah, this certainly is not the greatest steel. It's really cutting, and again, I'm using a coarse diamond stone here to cut this, and it is really it's really cutting through it pretty fast. So hopefully soon here I'll have a knife that I can cut paper thin slices off of an apple or a tomato or something, and we can show you that later. So I'm just going to go ahead and let you watch this, maybe speed it up a bit, but do the sharpening on this for you. Now I don't know how well you see it in the video, but if I really push on this, because of the soft rubber grips on there, it is going to push the blade away from the abrasive, and we don't want that. So let the stone or the diamond do the work. Don't push down on it, because if you push down on it, you're pushing the edge away from you, and so you're not going to get the same consistent sharpening that you want to get. Hold it wherever it's most convenient for you. If it's convenient and feels more comfortable down here, then do that. If you feel more comfortable using the knob on the top of the stone carriage, then use that. But again, let the abrasive do the work. don't push on it. It doesn't need to be pushed on. If you're getting a little buildup there, then clean that off, a wet rag or paper towel. You don't really need any water when you're working with diamond stones other than to clean it up. That's actually something I ought to have here, is a little container of water. Oh, I have a spray bottle here we can use. And just clean that up a bit as we go. So again, I'm just working on the first half of this so I can keep a pretty consistent angle. Work on the areas that need it. I can see back here on the heel of the blade that I'm not quite to the edge, so I'll work that a little more. So I feel pretty certain that I'm getting to the edge there. No, I'm not. Let's put a Sharpie on it. Okay, yep, I got it. It is going all the way to the edge. Very nice. Let's pull in close and take a look at that, and we can see if we have any marker on the edge right there. So I'll bring the camera around to another angle over here. So I don't have anything fancy to zoom in here, but kind of look at that and see, it does look to me like we've got a little bit on the micro edge. Well, it looks like we're all the way. So that looks pretty good. Alright, so a few strokes just to make sure we're getting rid of any burrs. We're going to finalize with different grits anyway, so we'll clean most of that up later on. And then this, again, just stroke in one direction. And it does look pretty clean. Alright, so now I'm going to move to the other half of the knife, the other half of the blade. And we're going to repeat the process. So I'm overlapping a little bit to the first half that I did. again, I'm reprofiling a bit here. So I'm really taking quite a bit of material off. So that I can get that edge back even with the other one. And of course, with back and forth movement like this, you're going to create a little bit of a burr that we'll need to get rid of. That's why we come back and finish with the one-way strokes. Turn it over. Same thing on this side. I don't feel like that's as tight as it ought to be. Tighten that up. Yeah, it feels better. It's a little awkward with the clamps on there, but it might still have a bit of a divot on one side there that needs to be sharpened out. And you can feel that when it catches as you're checking with the paper. It does catch right there. And so I've got a bit of a divot right there that needs to be worked out. So a notch in the blade. But otherwise, going through just to the point of having a fine stone, we've gotten a pretty good edge on that, and pretty consistent. So we just really need to work on that spot right there and get that out of there. So of course that's something I would continue to do with this, and then I can also move up to the extra fine and give a few passes there. What I'm going to do is just clean it up with the extra fine, and then we'll check the cuts, and I'll fix that notch off camera, so I'm not taking up your time for that. Really trying to do a light touch on this. That's why I'm losing it out of my hand a little bit there. Just want to refine that. And of course, if you want a mirror polish, then you're going to have to work it a little bit longer. Doesn't matter what kind of abrasives you're using, you'll have to really put some time into it if you want to get a mirror polish on it. That's how you sharpen a chef knife. Wow, that's awesome. All right, time for some lunch. And a few for later.